Hey folks, welcome to the show. I'm just going to turn down my music a bit. If you saw my short already, you'll see that I intended for this to be a short. Just a short because I want to do more shorts. I don't really like doing short videos on YouTube, but YouTube likes it, and I get a lot more views that way. So that's what I intended to do. But as I read more about the news of today, which is Connor Ungar being signed by the Oilers, the more I wanted to actually just talk about it deeply. And if you've been around and watched a lot of my videos, you'll know it's hard for me to stop talking about goalies. And I'm pretty excited by Connor Ungar. So the news is, as I said, he signed a 2-year entry-level contract to the Edmonton Oilers that will take place next year. For now, he will report to the Bakersfield Condors. I'd imagine he'd play for the Condors next year, probably backing up Rodrigue or Campbell. We'll see, and we'll get to that. But let's focus on Connor Ungar. So he's from Calgary, so he's an Alberta boy, which is fun to cheer for, even if it's not Edmonton. I'm always a little more biased to those guys, but whatever. That's not what is important. What's important is his interesting career trajectory. So let me bring up his hockey DB I have on my phone here. He had a respectable career in the WHL. He began in the AJHL, and then he went to the WHL where he played for the Wheat Kings, Red Deer Rebels, and Moose Jaw Warriors. And he was quite respectable. In his last 2 years, he went 21-9-1 with the Rebels, and then his last year in the WHL, he went 26-7-3. He had a .911 save percentage with the Rebels, and then a .925 save percentage the next year with the Warriors. So he ended off really well, but it wasn't enough to get him into the NHL. So he takes a route that's not well traveled by future NHLers, and that is the Canadian University League. Canadian universities at the moment and historically are usually better than American universities. That's starting to change now, but the reason is because most of these guys who go through the Canadian University route already know that they're not quite good enough to be in the NHL, but good enough to still do it in university. And so Canadian university teams are usually pretty good. But again, these are guys who are a little bit past the age, I don't want to say requirement, but you know most guys usually get signed before they're 22 or such. And it feels like these guys' trajectories is no longer the NHL. But that can always change. And that could very well change with Connor Ungar. Going from Canadian University to an AHL is not unheard of, but not common. And if he gets to the NHL, that's also not common, but not completely unheard of. And we'll get to that. Let's start with his time in the Canadian University, where he played for Brock University. He took the year by storm last year when he went 20-6. That led the league and the OUA in, when I mean league, I should say, it's different. OUA is the Ontario League, and the U Sports is across all Canada, Canadian University. And so he led both with 20 wins, and that's a program record for Brock University. He had a .215 goals against average, which was 4th in Ontario, and a .932 save percentage, which was also 4th in Ontario and 5th in the country among university players. He won the OUA West Goaltender of the Year, OUA West Rookie of the Year, OUA West First Team player, and OUA West All-Rookie Team. So just an outstanding season for the Calgary native, and he's now got a shot at the NHL, and I'm pretty excited by him. But what's interesting is, so like I said, Canadian university players don't often make the NHL because they kind of already know that their trajectory isn't going to be the NHL, but they're still good enough to play, which isn't a knock. I'm not in the Canadian University playing hockey, so I'm not knocking that at all. But the last example of this to happen is eerily similar to Connor Ungar's story. So as I mentioned, Connor Ungar, he was a Calgarian. He played for the Brandon Wheat Kings, played for Brock University when he was 22, and then signed with an NHL team. The last example was a Calgarian goalie who played for Brock University at 22 and also played for the Brandon Wheat Kings in the WHL. And he signed and is currently a goaltender for Vegas Golden Knights. He's Logan Thompson, who hasn't been super amazing, but has had some really good moments and is an easy 1B goalie. And so that's a very similar story to Connor Ungar, and similar origin story, if you will. And they also have some pretty similar stats. I believe Connor Ungar's are slightly more impressive. I will bring it up here. Bear with me. I should have had this ready. I didn't think I was going to talk about this part, but figured I might as well because I like talking about goalies. I love it. Okay, no, please load. There we go. So, I believe this is, yeah, while they were at Brock University, Logan Thompson 2018-19 went 18-6, 222 goals against average, 934 save percentage. Connor Ungar, 5 years later, went 20-6, so better, a 215 goals against average, better, and a 932 save percentage, which is slightly worse. So very comparable. Again, very similar stories. Both were Calgarian goalies who played for the Brandon Wheat Kings. Wasn't good enough to get drafted in the NHL, or I don't know if Thompson was, but if he wasn't, it didn't matter. Played for Brock University, where they had an excellent season and got a chance with the NHL. And as you know, Logan Thompson, thanks to goalie injuries for Vegas, was ushered in and became a very, very good goalie. He was I gotta say this probably because different terminology. He was an all-star for the NHL last year with Stuart Skinner, who was also another Albertan goalie for the Pacific. Just a little interesting stat about Albertan goalies taking over Canada. There's a talk about Canadian goalies not being so hot, but Albertan goalies are still up there. Stuart Skinner has reclaimed the spot as the best Albertan goalie since the other one is having legal issues, being Carter Hart. Good luck to him, assuming he's innocent. But anyways, so really excited for Connor Ungar. Congratulations. And I'm a little more excited because one, he's an Albertan goalie, and two, he could be an Edmonton Oiler, but one step at a time, he'll likely play for the Bakersfield Condors. So that brings us to a discussion about the goalies under the Oilers right now. He's the sixth goalie in the system now, following Stuart Skinner and Calvin Pickard in the NHL, Jack Campbell and Olivier Rodrigue in the AHL, and Ryan Fanti in the ECHL. Skinner and Pickard have been quite a very solid duo since January 1st, actually one of the best duos in the league. Skinner is quite young and will obviously be with the Oilers for a while. Pickard's future is a little less certain. The Oilers are believed to have begun talking about contract extension with Pickard as his deal is done at the end of his deal is done at the end of this year. I'm sure it'll be part of whether or not Pickard will be in the AHL or the NHL because of Jack Campbell, who's doing quite well in the AHL with Olivier Rodrigue, where they are both being 1A goalies. They're both some of the best goalies in the AHL right now. And that's been the Condors' strength in this year is their goaltending, especially even when it was Rodrigue and Pickard. So a lot of good goalie news for the Oilers. I'll get to Ryan Fanti, but I think the reason there's some issues with Pickard is obviously Pickard likes the Oilers because this is where he made it back into the NHL. But I'm sure there's a part of him that wants to stay there. He's now proven himself as an NHL goalie, and how likely is that going to be next year? Is he going to start with the Oilers next year, or is Jack Campbell going to replace him? Who knows? That might be part of it. Or maybe he's happy with Bakersfield. That's where his family is still. So we'll see what comes of that. Not going to speculate too much. That's for the people who have too much time on TV here in Canada. I can limit my speculation. Speculation's okay. There's just too much of it is not okay. But yeah, Olivier Rodrigue, his contract is also done at the end of the year. I would like to see him resign. He is an excellent young goalie in the AHL and certainly has some NHL hopes. Jack Campbell also has some NHL hopes, but it's hard to have faith in him. I want to have faith in him, not just as an Oilers fan or a fan of goalies and American goalies, but because he seems like a really nice guy, and you hate to see what's happened to him happen to anyone, almost anyone, but certainly not Jack Campbell. So we'll see what happens. I think with some of the recent moves, talking to Pickard and signing Connor Ungar, I would imagine Campbell might get shipped this offseason. And with Campbell's play, there are other teams that would be willing to probably take him on and say, hey, yeah, you played well in the AHL. You've had NHL success. Let's give it a go. The Devils might be one of them. We'll see if they're happy with their duo, their new duo right now, or if the young guys play up to snuff. Which is hard to say because, again, goalie projections and career development is weird, which is why we're talking about Connor Ungar for nearly 10 minutes. much longer than I thought I would be. And lastly is Ryan Fanti. He's in the ECHL. I'm not sure if he's going to make the NHL, but I like him a lot. He's done well, and he's been in a fight, and he's scored a goal down there. So you love to see that kind of stuff. I like him quite a bit. So I'm actually pretty confident about the goaltending scenario or goaltending future for the Oilers, which hasn't been said in a very long time. That's it for now. Thank you so much for watching. Please leave a like if you think I've earned it. Comment your thoughts. I'd be happy to know. I got more videos coming out. Hopefully I'll see you there, and I'll see you sooner if you subscribe and turn on notifications. That's a huge help for me. Anyways, that's it for now. Thank you again. I'll see you when I see you.